Okay, intro. Welcome to the 1 year series of me developing a game. Hi, I'm Michael. I'm currently developing a game about philosophy and I hope we can get along very well together. Okay, the day's progress. Before the day's progress, I still will post this gameplay of the week at the end of the video and I want to discuss the changes to plans to you guys. I'm not doing a heavy editing anymore, but to compensate for that loss, I will try to make it heavy on the storytelling part, and if it works out, it can be my time saver for since most of the time I'm very unmotivated to edit my videos, so it will be a great help for my time. And I hope it is good with you all guys, and I just discovered the fact that I can do subtitles on my videos, and I recommend you guys to turn it on since at times my pronunciation is bad. So yeah, that is all I'm gonna say. And spoiler alert, this video is a mess even though I make it with so much effort. So from here's point on, I will say this video it will confuse you because it doesn't recall yesterday's achievement well as the previous stated on the video. Well, meaning the story structure is a mess to follow, and please forgive me for this mistake. I just realized it recently when I'm rewatching this full video, and even I can follow it myself. So yeah, this video will be messy, and let me reframe how you're gonna watch this video from here. Take it as a challenge to follow along. Although I warn you, it's gonna be very difficult. And I'm still posting this video because it will document my progress on this journey, but still I will not make the same mistake again going forward. So yeah, guys, take this video as a challenge to follow along. Good luck. And with that, let's get into the progression of the game's development. Okay, new week, huh? Here it is what I'm planning for you guys for this day, and guess what? You already know the drill. Here's a clip of Michael describing the plan. Thank you, Michael. So here's what I'm thinking about. I'm using Microsoft Paint again, as usual. Don't mind it. It helps me explain what I'm thinking better. As you probably know by now or not, that the widget for choices pops up correctly when I press E. But I haven't told you yet that when I press letter E in the keyboard, all the NPC that overlap with the player's box collision will show the widget choices, meaning it is not clear who is the player actually interacting with. And imagine if the NPCs stack on one spot and the player's box collision is overlapping with it and spot, it will be a goddamn nightmare to handle. That's all there is to say to it. So here is the solution I'm thinking. Instead of using player's box collision component to trigger the pop-up, I'm gonna be using widget interaction component to know which kind of NPC owner it is overlapping with, yada yada. Basically finding what NPCs are we actually trying to interact with. And with that out of the way, back to you, Michael. So as Michael said earlier, we needed to implement that, and without any more further delay, let's get into it. So I just finished implementing it, and it took a while. Like, I keep having this problem about invisible widgets, and it is also can be interacted, and one that it is keep messing me up so much, man. But enough of that, take a look of this final result. So let me click play real quick, and let's walk toward these NPCs. Now, for the right step to do this, I have to put my mouse near this NPC, and if I see this red dot appear on my mouse, I can finally click letter E on my keyboard, and it will show up, and it works only on this NPC, and it shows up the options about choices and not the other NPC. And with that basically working, I can finally say Back to you, Michael. Okay, after this, I decided to change my code a bit. Here's another clip of Michael talking about the problem. Thank you, Michael. So here's the problem. I need to refactor a little bit and change my NPC interact widget code a bit, since each NPC is looking for the player, and if it finds that player, it shows up the interact widget. And I tell you, yeah, it works, but it's not very optimized because it is also triggers when another actor, not the player, also overlap with this NPC collision component. So instead of all of that, I decided to make it rely on the player itself if it is close to the NPC, meaning it still works the same but a little more optimized than before. And with that out of the way, back to you, Michael. And finally, after this, I decided to mark each NPC spot for the scheduling part, right, for the scheduling code. And after the simulation, I have encountered another problem where all NPC get stuck at one spot, but that is another problem for tomorrow to fix. And with that, peace out. Okay, day 44. Before that, I want to address this early on, and I haven't really focused on the stacking of the NPCs on the one spot. Please take it easy on me here. But I try to optimize the game when all NPCs are performing a move to at the same time. So let us get into the day as usual. Here's a clip of Michael describing the plan for today. So, as usual, I'm using Microsoft Paint to explain what I'm thinking for the story game, to emphasize the philosophy genre and its concepts, you know it, we gotta add emotions into the game. So here's what I'm planning. I will make like a filter effect of Vignette, as I hope I pronounce it right. As for those who don't know, it is something you see on some photos where it is a border on the corner of the screen forming a shape of a circle, and I want to add colors to that effect for interpreting different emotions as we progress into the story. And with that out of the way, back to you, Michael. So here is what I did. So here's what I got for now. Let me click play real quick and press the trigger for the emotions, which is the letter Y on my keyboard, and press. As you can see, it worked, but not exactly the kind you are hoping for. Like if you got eyes, you see this pretty, and you see this, it is pretty clear that this display is nowhere close from the Vignette effect with colors I was talking about earlier. But I will say, to achieve this effect, I probably have to research this on ChatGPT or YouTube about this. And with that out of the way, I'll see you when I get there. So after researching, I went into YouTube first and I see this video. So after watching the video, I can finally say I finally did it. Don't believe me? Take a closer look. So let me click play real quick and press letter Y on my keyboard, and let's see. As you can see, it's absolutely beautiful to see. And yeah, I know it's a cheap trick for showing emotions, but it is a quick twist on my game. Like, I really want the MC to be aware of his emotions and what he is feeling at the moment. And at the end of the story, it will show his emotional control and also awareness of his emotions, his feelings. And yeah, not gonna really explain this further. And with that, back to you, Michael. And also, before we end the day, I added a task UI for the player to follow. Here is a clip of once again it working. So, as Michael said earlier, here's the gameplay of it working, and right now it is currently hooked on the trigger event of pressing the letter T on my keyboard. So press, and as you can see, it is nowhere near functional yet. It's just a display for now, because I'm not really worried about that yet. Maybe in the future. So yeah, it's just there. It's just there. It's so amazing, right? So that is the overall day. See you guys tomorrow. Okay, day 45. Okay, for today's plan, guess what? You already know the drill. It's Microsoft explanation time. So we got the vignette effect yesterday. So for today, we just have to polish it more. And here's what I'm planning. First, we have to exchange its color to tell the player what he's actually experiencing. Like an example is, the color black means the emotion is for the emotion of depression. Another color is yellow for the emotion of joy. Another is white for the emotion of acceptance. By now, you probably get the idea. And the second thing I wanna add is some intensity to the emotion, like here's what I'm thinking. As the vignette have this intensity, like it is like as its radius walks towards the center of the screen and it approaches the center, and meaning the higher the intensity and vice versa. And yeah, basically here's the plan. And with that, back to you, Michael. So let us get into it. First, we have to implement the changing colors of vignette effect. And let's go. So after the implementation, I am finally confident to show you the results. Here it goes. Let us click play as usual and press its trigger event, which is letter Y on my keyboard. The emotion, let's see, it is blue, color blue in here, and let's try again. As we probably see, it is changing colors. That depends only for now on random luck, which will change later, but for now it is enough to rely on chance. And yeah, with that basically working, I can finally say back to you, Michael. And now for the second implementation, here we go. Here's a clip of the results. Okay, finally done and working. You guys will hopefully be amazed by this small feat, but here we go. Let me click play real quick and try to press the letter Y on my keyboard once again. Press, as you can see, it is animating by going back and forth towards the center. It's absolutely beautiful in my eyes, like genuinely. So before we end the clip, here's a quick explanation how it's gonna be used in the future, for the future. Let us start. Open your ears and listen. So as the vignette effect is at its peak, meaning it is at the closest to the center of the screen, it will take as an intensity and drains the mental energy of the MC or willpower. And for the other way around, if it's at its farthest on the towards the center, the intensity will be low and the mental energy drain as well. So yeah, that's basically it. Bye, or rather, back to you, Michael. And I also try and tested this on one concept, which is if the player is near a certain actor, it will trigger an emotion. Like imagine you guys playing the main character and you got this crush on this specific NPC. Would you agree that you will feel nervous? I thought so. And yeah, I'm just testing on some cases, and I hope it is okay with you guys to show this on the video, because sometimes I feel like I'm getting an expectation about me just providing progress, and please consider that progress for me isn't linear, and take it easy on me, guys. So yeah, basically nothing left to say. See you tomorrow. See you guys tomorrow. Okay, day 46. Okay, for today's plan, this is gonna be a big change, I tell you. That. But, without a further ado, let us get into it. Here's a clip of Michael describing the plan for today. Thank you, Michael. So here it is. We're gonna head towards the story elements or the game, or rather, sequence of events where every situation led to more situation or story game time, if you know what I'm saying. I am currently using Microsoft Paint for today. Now let me guide you into this change. So here it is, an example time. So example, at the time 7:30 a.m. the story demands an introduction of every NPCs out there in the classrooms, and another example is on time 8:30 a.m. the story progressed to assessment of examination on how each student's comprehension knowledge is tested. And last example is sometime random time, a teacher asks a question and demands everyone or one students to answer that question. And the second thing I wanna add, if possible, is upgrading the dialogue data system to handle multiple responses to every situation and not just one response to every situation, every question, which is very unrealistic if you ask me. But in order to do that, I'm gonna using a set with strings as keys, and its value will be an array of dialogues. And with that explained, back to you, Michael. Okay, as Michael on the clip said earlier, we are now gonna implement it. So without a further ado and delay, let's get into the clip of Michael that has implemented it already. Okay, I think I finally done it, but there has some bugs into this, like sometimes it follows the story manager, sometimes it isn't. Like, just check it out what I mean by this. So let me click play real quick and let us see. And I have probably to tell you by now that I started this with this time on this specific time, which is 7:30. If you haven't, there's gonna be a lot of waiting time for this example. So as you probably see, it triggered the event of the story manager, but the introduction of NPCs is a little bit weird, or rather it's bugged. So yeah, I probably have to look into this and find the underlying reason behind it. So yeah guys, that is about it, and I apologize for not delivering the expectation, but I think you would agree that every setback leads to a breakthrough. So hang in there with me. Yeah, that's about it. Back to you, Michael. So I did my research on ChatGPT and find that this is causing the problem. So here's the clip of Mike explaining the bug. So hello guys, I'm using the engine right now, and my question is, what do you see in front of you? It is nodes, right? At first glance, if you probably expect, as we have loop, then it reaches and is the async task, then continue, right? Oh boy, I was so wrong about this. I didn't know it will function like this. It will run the loop body, then when it reaches the async task, the engine says time for the next loop. Like, bruh, this loop node can't wait, or rather, if we call this in people's terms, it is very impatient. So yeah, pretty heartbreaking to find. I ran into the engine problem, and yeah, with that explained, I will be probably gone by now. And with that, back to you, Michael. So I went on to ChatGPT once again and asked for solution, and one thing I tried and worked out is this. So here's the result, guys. Let me click play real quick. So here is the results of it working, guys. You guys can see it's absolutely beautiful to see it's working. And here's the code. Basically, I use recursion instead of a per loop node to fix these issues. So yeah, and with that working, back to you, Michael. And the last thing I want to say is that I have upgraded the dialogue data structure, and I have encountered a problem, but that is for tomorrow to share since I am tired. And you can also say it is partially working. And With that, see you guys tomorrow. Okay, day 47. So let me address the problem yesterday. Okay, here's a clue of Michael describing the issue. Here's the only bug on yesterday's upgrade on the talk event. So here we are on the site of the blueprint, and this part right here is the bug because this particular variable is a stress set structure, and I'm just new to this set blueprint in Unreal Engine 5, really, and from what I want is to engine to return a reference instead of a copy of the data from this find node so I can modify it right. Yeah, it's fairly simple task. You will have to increment the index of the dialog, and that is it. Yeah, that is the overall problem, mainly because I'm not really familiar with the set structure in Unreal Engine 5 just yet, and this is an engine problem. That's all you gotta say. Here's a clip of it working. Hello there, look at this. This is increasing now. The dialog index is now increasing with the set structure which I finally figured out, which is great news because we can continue with the rest of the day. And with that, back to you, Michael. And now for the overall plan for the day. So hello guys, I just finished the problem and I went to Microsoft Paint once again to explain the plan, and you already know the drill. So here it is. So here's what I'm thinking. I will add a second layer choices into the choices already implemented, which is another layer which an example is on the talk button. It will show talk subcategories of that branch, like talk, what do you want to say, with choices and of what dialogues you can pick. And the second thing is I want to add is make the UI for the examination assessment that will happen on the first day, specifically on potentially 8:30 a.m. game time. And it is not just an exam like static, it's gonna be dynamic depending on the question. So no matter what the exam is about, the UI will be able to handle it, how many questions, etc. And with that plan explained and nothing else that's left to say, I can finally say back to you, Michael. And with Michael on the clip says the plan for the day is, let us get into the clip. Michael just finished the implementation. So guys, I just implemented recently the second layer choices part, so let us get into it. Let me click play real quick and see the NPC options, and let's pop it first by following these methods. As previous day, they say, hover your mouse into this NPC and press letter in my keyboard, then you can see this choices pops up. And now let's click one of these options. Let's click talk. Then as you can see, another layer of options is displayed, and if you click introduction, it will finally make the NPC introduce themselves to the player. And yeah, with that basically working and nothing else left to say, back to you, Michael. Guys, I couldn't make the full exam just yet. Here is a clip of Michael at the end of the day implementation. Yo guys, I couldn't finish the full UI of the exam because making it dynamic was a terrible idea, and I just got for now is this. Let me show you. So let me click play real quick and trigger this event on the time 8:30 a.m. and go to this chair, and with this the exam UI pops up, and yeah, it is there, but look, it looks awful as hell, but it doesn't have design yet, and it doesn't function just yet. So, and yeah, that is why it's not done. Look at this complexity of nodes. just for this garbage. But again, in the future, I will make this better and functional. So yeah, guys, it doesn't deserve a purpose for now, but we will get there. We will get there. And yeah, with all of that, back to you, Michael. So yeah, guys, that's about it. See you guys tomorrow. Okay, day 48. So let us continue on the yesterday's plan, and here we go. As usual, we still have to describe the plan. So guys, I'm using Microsoft Paint once again, and to continue on the yesterday's plan, to also recap, we didn't finish it, and it doesn't function as well, and it doesn't look pleasing to the eyes, and for today, we're gonna try to finish it. And since it is a dynamic system, it went beyond my imagination and make it more work than usual. And I have separated the task points for today, which I'm gonna follow, into two, which are, first, we got to make it look pretty, and second, we gotta to make it functional and working. And with that, enough yapping, let's us do the working. So back to you, Michael. As Michael said earlier, we got to try to finish it, and we got to implement it first. First things first, make it look pretty. And here's a clip of Michael just finished the design part of the exam UI. So I just got the design of the UI exam finish. And check this out, guys. Let me click play real quick. And trigger the event for it. As you can see, it is not that much. It improved and looked fairly simple, but I gotta remind you, it works with every question there is, and that might be a lie, and it just works for most questions. But I can say that it's dynamic as hell. Just prompt the questions and the answers, and the UI is generated to handle that prompt. So yeah, with that basically working and dynamic, back to you, Michael. So with the fairly simple design but dynamic one, let us move into the functionality of the exam UI. But I encountered a problem. Here it is, a clip of Michael explaining the situation. So I encountered this problem and here it is. So I have this array of variables which contain the buttons, elements. But here's the part I can't do just yet. I wanna know which button am I pressing since I'm manually binding all of it to an event. But I was trying to make sure this button can be identified, so that's the whole overall problem. And the process is to identify the button to perform as an operation based on its identity. And the problem too, it is because it is a spawn button, so there is no auto event given by the engine for me. So right now I'm trying to fix that problem to identify which button is which, and still I have no clue what to do still. So yeah, that is all there is to it. Back to you, Michael. So yeah, as Michael said earlier in the clip, it was very hard problem for me, and it is another engine limit. So this went for the end of the day. I spent trying to make the button identify itself so that the whole functionality is finished, and at the end I was so exhausted. Here is the clip of Michael done trying for today. So guys, I've been trying to make a solution for this problem, and I really can't do it for today. I am mentally exhausted and frustrated about this problem, and it's not even funny anymore, bro, at this point. But I don't really feel failing at all that much, because it is just that I don't want to fail you on guys on this. So there's that, and I'm really trying to be honest with you with this progress, and here it is. So I hope you can accept that sometimes programming is easy and sometimes it is hard. But all in all, I'm not gonna let this define me forever, and instead I'm gonna use this as a reminder that I am still learning about this game dev journey as well as being a content creator. So yeah, thanks guys, and with that I can finally say back to you, Michael. So yeah, that is it for today. Sorry for the disappointment, but it is a reminder I am still learning about this path. So yeah, see you guys tomorrow. Okay, day 49, last day of the week, huh? So guys, let us continue on the yesterday's problems. To recap, here's a quick clip of Michael explaining where we left off. So guys, new day, huh? And to remind you where we left off, and you guys can see in front of you, it is something here in this gap that should be there, and its purpose is to identify which button is pressed and process it based on its identity. And with that overall problem B fully recap, where we left off yesterday, back to you, Michael. After looking and trying to find the node that helps me in this situation, I fucking finally done it. And I'm so proud of his achievement. Here's a clip of Michael after he finally solved the functionality problem. So guys, I think I finally found it, and it's thanks to this node, which is hovered node. So what I did is look through the array of buttons manually and check every single one of them. Since only one button can be hovered at a time, it will fix the problem and like a breeze. And after I finally solved this I quickly connected it to the tested its result. Look for yourself. Let me click play real quick and trigger the pop-up for the UX exam by going through near this chair, and this triggered the pop-up, and let us click the button, and it should print the button display name ID. And as you can see, it is working. Let us try to press another button. As you can see, it's changing based on the buttons I click. And I have to say something though, I struggle when I run into the engine problem with blueprints, and it genuinely sucks when that happens. And yeah, finally did it, and I'm so fucking proud of it. And with that, back to you, Michael. So here now is what I'm planning for the rest of the day. Here's a clip of Michael explaining the plan. So guys, I'm using Microsoft Paint as usual. So here's the plan for today. I'm gonna add a measure to the score of the player based on his answers. Second is, let us finally complete the introduction of every NPC at time 7:30 AM, because it's not complete yet, since the plan is to make it feel like a school environment. And finally, add the teacher saying something first before the introduction. And the benefits would be, and you would agree that introduction right off the bat feels robotic. So yeah, that's the overall plan for today, is to complete the introduction of every NPC. And with that, back to you, Michael. After trying to implement this, I find a devastating problem, and that is, it is again an async problem. Here is a clip of Michael talking about the problem. So hey guys, I encountered a problem, and that is, how do I make the code wait its execution call? And calling the event doesn't work the same way as the function. Like, what I mean by this is that I feel like the event code doesn't have a call stack, meaning it is also async. And another problem with async is the timing differs for each case, and you can't guess the timing right or manually do it, and it would be a not very flexible code for us, and if I did the manual timing thing. So yeah guys, another setback for me. Guess I have to find the solution once again. And with that, back to you, Michael. As Michael said earlier on the clip, I went to and tried to solve this until the end of the work hour, and at the end, this is what he finds. So, it is almost the end of the workday, and check this out, I figured it out. Basically, look at this node. What do you see in front of you? We have a delay node and a branch node, and if a condition is true, it will go back to the delay node and checks again until the condition turns false, which means the code can now wait, or rather, I have a way to handle this async task. And I went and searched to define the solution in ChatGPT says it is similar to polling architecture in event-driven games. So yeah, I just figured that out after trial and error, and I'm so fucking proud about it. And with that, back to you, Michael. So yeah guys, that's about it, and see you in the gameplay of the week.